Happy Aloha Friday, and thanks for tuning in to This Is Now. First today, Congress is moving forward on steps to avoid a last-minute shutdown. Now, the House passed a bill to keep the government open, and the Senate is expected to follow suit later this evening.
Yeah, but even though the measure passed with bipartisan support in the House, it may come at a price for Speaker Mike Johnson. Willie James Inman has more.
The Senate has begun debate on a bill to fund the government for the rest of the year and avoid a shutdown, which is set to take effect at midnight.
To my colleagues on both sides, let's finish the job today. Let's avoid even a weekend shutdown.
The Senate took up the bill after the House passed it with broad bipartisan support.
On this vote, the yeas are 286, the nays are 134.
The funding bill passed in the House despite stiff opposition from the right wing of the Republican Party, who say spending is too high and it doesn't address the real crisis in the country.
Some will say that the Republicans are in the majority in the House, but it's clear that the Democrats own the Speaker's gavel. Because this bill, it's not a Republican piece of legislation. It's keeping the border open.
The last time Republicans passed a spending bill over the objections of the far right, it cost House Speaker Kevin McCarthy his job. And history may be about to repeat itself with current House Speaker Mike Johnson.
This is basically a warning.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene filed a motion to vacate the Speaker's chair.
It's time for us to go through the process, take our time, and find a new Speaker of the House that will stand with Republicans and our Republican majority instead of standing with the Democrats.
Johnson says he's not concerned.
I don't operate in fear, we have to do the job and we have to govern, and that's what we're doing day by day.
House members are going on a 2-week recess, which could give Johnson time to convince Greene to withdraw the motion. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Turning now to international news, after months out of the spotlight, Princess Kate has announced that she is battling cancer. In a video released by Kensington Palace today, the Princess of Wales says she's undergoing chemotherapy. CBS's Ian Lee has more on this breaking story from London.
This, of course, came as a huge shock.
Appearing alone on a park bench, the Princess of Wales explained that after undergoing major abdominal surgery in January, doctors found cancer.
My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment.
Kate's last royal function was on Christmas Day. The next month, Kensington Palace announced she had undergone planned abdominal surgery, but would likely be back to public engagements after Easter. For nearly 2 months, there were no updates about Kate's health. Then last week, the palace released this photo of Kate and her children. It was quickly determined that it had been edited, which only fueled frenzied speculation and controversy about Kate's condition. On Saturday, she was spotted in Windsor in a video obtained by TMZ, smiling and walking with her husband, Prince William. In her video, Kate explained the absence of information.
It has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay.
Kate says she's feeling healthy, grateful to have Prince William by her side, and asked the public for time, space, and privacy while she completes her treatment. Kate's diagnosis comes as King Charles is also undergoing cancer treatment. With Prince Harry estranged in California, much of the royal duties have fallen to Prince William, whose wife says she is now focusing on making a full recovery. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
H&N investigates respiratory problems downwind of the Lahaina burn zone. This video from March 7th shows the wind carrying a plume of dust. Several months ago, the health department warned residents that ash from the August wildfire could include toxins such as arsenic, lead, cobalt, and copper. Last week, the American Lung Association says it received 4 calls from people concerned about the dust. 3 of them had a chronic cough.
The best protection is for people to be masked up or to stay indoors with the windows closed. Turn on the AC if you have it during those times so that you're not exposed.
Right now, there are 55 real-time air monitors in Lahaina and Olowalu, capable of detecting contaminants, including arsenic and lead. The health department says results so far has shown that debris removal activities have not resulted in any significant impact to the air quality. And Maui Mayor Richard Bisson will present the fiscal year 2025 budget proposal this coming Monday at 10 a.m. to members of the Maui County Council. The budget will address a number of things, including funding needed for housing, water, infrastructure, and economic resiliency, along with much-needed environmental protections. Here on Oahu, some community members are pushing back at a proposed landfill. To make it happen, a popular soccer complex would have to move. Our Jolani Martinez reports.
The YPO Soccer Complex has 21 fields and is used by thousands of players and their families. They're shocked. The city is even entertaining the suggestion it be turned into a landfill.
It would be really sad to see this place go.
For soccer parents and their kids, the YPO Peninsula Soccer Complex is like their second home.
On the weekends, this place is packed, and it's really a nice common area for teams that are coming all the way from the east side, all the way from North Shore. It's a nice middle ground for us.
Shylin Upchurch has been playing soccer since she was 3 and is on the field perfecting her craft 5 days a week.
We really love this place and we don't want it to be taken away from us because most of our memories are here for sports.
Mayor Rick Blangiardi says the more than 240-acre soccer complex is one of several sites being considered. However, it's by no means final.
But YPO is not an automatic.
Blangiardi says the Landfill Action Committee evaluated 6 sites, all of which weren't eligible because they're above drinking water aquifers. The city turned to the military, who suggested Waianae, Waimanalo, or YPO.
But there's also other extenuating circumstances to be in YPO. I don't know if the military would appreciate me saying this, but they do conduct covert operations out there. They do a lot of special forces training and stuff like that. It's not as simple as anybody thinks.
The city asked for a 2-year extension to find a landfill. While plans are nowhere near final, nearly 10,000 people have signed this petition against any changes to the YPO fields.
We're hoping that with the push of the whole soccer community, this will be overturned.
We have, put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this park to bring it to where it is today, and it would just be sad to see it turned into a landfill.
At the same time, you do have communities still in this area, like Waipahu High School is right there, and families that live really close by. So I don't know if it is the best alternative.
The mayor says even before removing any soccer fields, they would find a new place, which would cost around $80 million. Jolani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
Honolulu City Council members say 2 housing bills at the state legislature would weaken the city's ability to rein in so-called monster homes. They advanced a resolution voicing strong concerns over House Bill 1630 and Senate Bill 3202. It would allow more units on residential lots to help increase housing inventory.
It also forces Honolulu to approve 3 dwellings per lot with no special restrictions on size of the additional lots or on occupancy. As you know, right now we can have 5 unrelated adults and their families in a home. So that means that each 2,000 square foot dwelling could have 3 homes, all stuck together with common walls, and up to 15 unrelated adults and their families.
Our home prices are continuing to go up. Our crisis has just gotten worse. To say these bills would legalize monster homes is just false. These are about legalizing small homes on small lots. Part of the reason we're dealing with monster homes today is because of that continued inaction by this body.
The bills are currently waiting for hearings to be scheduled in several committees. Meanwhile, Kapuna and Moka are getting housing assistance. Nariat Hawaii has awarded a $50,000 grant to nonprofit Molokai Affordable Housing Alliance. The grant will help support low-income kupuna with new affordable tiny homes. 6 homes are in the planning stages for a new subdivision near Molokai Airport. Following a string of recent restaurant closures, 2 more longtime eateries are calling it quits. Mahelani Richardson has the story.
The owner of Hailey's Hawaiian Foods says that her restaurant will shut down on June 30th when the lease is up. She says it's time to retire, but also cites increasing costs, including an increase in the minimum wage.
Hailey's Hawaiian Foods is a favorite of many families and known for its ono local dishes. The Big Kahuna Plate, Squid Luau, and Laulau are popular sellers.
They're like 5,000 lau.
72-year-old Lorraine Hailey Alo says the restaurant had a good run. Established in 1950 in the Ward Farmers Market area by her parents, Rachel and Peter, the restaurant moved to its current location in Kapahulu in 2006.
I just felt that it was time for me to bring closure to this part of
our lives. I just thought this would be a good time to just say mahalo.
Alo says the ending lease solidified her decision after the strain of the pandemic, rising costs, and the $14 per hour minimum wage, which jumped $4 over 2 years. She shortened her hours and let go some employees, but doing business in Hawaii was too much.
It's not supportive of small businesses, and it just seems like the small business owners just keep working and working and working, and the profit margins just get smaller.
Shokudo Japanese on Kapi'olani Boulevard announced its closing on March 31st after 19 years and downsizing after the pandemic. Known for its honey toast, its Kaimuki and Waikiki locations will stay open.
Feels like recently with the Outback, the 3 Outbacks closing, Buka de Beppo closing, and now this Heidi's closing. It's so sad.
Cheryl Matsuoka, executive director of the Hawaii Restaurant Association, says an ending lease is often a decision point for struggling restaurants. And she says the loss takes a bite out of many businesses.
Every time a restaurant closes their door, now that farmer lost a customer. Now the person who sells them the takeout containers lost a customer. So you can imagine all of the ripple effect through the whole food service industry every time a restaurant closes to their door.
Lorraine Alo says the word is already getting out, and she's assuring her customers that any orders in catering business made before June 30th will be fulfilled. Reporting from Kapahulu, I'm Mahealani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
More diplomatic frustrations as the U.S. unsuccessfully tries to move a ceasefire resolution through the UN and an ongoing effort to dissuade Israel from invading the southern Gaza city of Rafah. Natalie Brand has more.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is headed back to the U.S. after what he calls candid conversations with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The two met for 40 minutes, where Secretary Blinken offered alternatives to Israel's planned invasion of Rafah in the war against Hamas.
We're looking forward to having Israeli officials in Washington next week to talk about a different way of achieving these objectives that we share, of defeating Hamas and ensuring Israel's long-term security.
Netanyahu says Israel will move forward even without U.S. support. More than 1 million displaced Palestinians are sheltering in Rafah. Israel says Hamas operatives are among them. Israel has also returned to the north in areas once thought to be cleared of Hamas fighters.
Many Hamas terrorist operatives and senior ones have been hiding in the hospital.
Gaza's largest hospital is again under fire. In 5 days of fighting, Israeli defense forces have killed more than 140 fighters and arrested 650 more. The U.S., Qatar, and Egypt are reporting progress on a 6-week ceasefire and hostage deal between Israel and Hamas.
Nothing's negotiated till it's all negotiated, but we do believe that the gaps are narrowing and we are getting closer.
The same can't be said at the UN Security Council. Friday, Russia and China vetoed a U.S. proposed immediate and sustained ceasefire. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
All right, let's take a live look outside. This is Hilo on Hawaii Island. Coming up today at 1 p.m. shortly after This Is Now, Mayor Mitch Roth will be delivering his State of the County address at the West Hawaii Civic Center Pavilion in Kailua Kona. Now, it's going to be streamed live on Naleo TV, Channel 55, and of course on Mayor Roth's Facebook page. We're going to have your full weekend forecast coming up with Guy Hagi after this quick break.
how's it on this Aloha Friday? The weather's going to be pretty nice. A little bit windy from time to time today through Sunday before the winds ease up again. You can see there are some clouds upstream. That means we'll see some windward and Moka showers. Not a lot of rain, but it will be damp from time to time for some windward neighborhoods, especially in the early morning and overnight hours. And that's pretty much the case through the weekend. And the winds already stepping up. They'll be running at breezy levels through the weekend, slowly easing up on Monday. The exception, of course, being the Kona side of Hawaii Island, where the winds will run lighter. So statewide, we'll have a few windward and Moka showers. Not a lot of rain. Drier conditions by lunchtime. For leeward sides, we'll see a lot of sunshine and those high temperatures running into the low 80s for the next several days. And the surf is taking a break, at least for the better part of today. North and west shores are dropping, but keep in mind there's another moderate swell due tonight and another bigger advisory level swell coming into north and west shores on Sunday. And also through the weekend, the east shores will be picking up, although it's going to be a little bit choppy with those gusty winds. So breezy winds through Sunday. A few windward and Moka showers will be coming in from time to time. Much drier for leeward sides. All in all, a pleasant weekend ahead. Next weekend, not too shabby either. Even though the winds back off, they'll still be running at steady levels at 15 to 20 all the way through Thursday.
Hey, happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Davis here in the Digital Center alongside Kyle Chinen with your weekly sports update. Kyle,
back.
Lots going on. We got to talk about the Wahine, actually. They played last night, and their season has officially come to the close. A heartbreaker, Kyle. That was a tough one.
It was a tough one, but it was honestly a better showing than their last time out against UC Davis in the Big West tournament. They fell to Cal 65-60 last night in the opening round of the inaugural WBIT, which is the Women Basketball Invitation Tournament, first year of this tournament. But yeah, they put up a good fight, and they finished the year 20-11, only losing 2 seniors, so future is bright. And I mean, just in general, what an amazing season again by the Rainbow Wahine. They were dominant in the regular season. They faltered a little bit during the tournament, but they were able to put a good showing out to end the year.
Talking about a bright future, we got to move on to the Bows, actually. I got to give a shout out to them. Even though they lost their star Spiros, the young guys have been coming out to play. A lot of freshmen there kind of showing out. They're making some moves out there. Yeah,
the Rainbow Warriors men's volleyball team fell to Long Beach State last weekend. Last weekend, UH was number 1. The Beach was number 2. They flip-flopped, so UH back down to number 2. But I think if you want to look at it as a moral victory, they were able to take Long Beach, one of the top teams in the country, to 5 sets. They could have won that match too, but they're still figuring things out, and they're definitely still trying to figure out how to work around not having Spiros available. They're getting some good use out of the young guys and a rotation of outside hitters in Louis Sakanoko. He was Big West Freshman of the Week, and then you got the other outside hitters in Keone Thim and Chaz Galloway. The ceiling is high for this team right now, but they're still really trying to iron out the details going into the rest of the Big West schedule.
One thing we were both trying to iron out also were our March Madness brackets. It's been tough. Of course, everyone, March Madness is going on, the NCAA basketball tournaments. March is going on. If you guys are familiar with March Madness, you create these brackets trying to guess which team is going far, and it usually never comes true.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, how's your bracket coming?
Both of them are busted. I really lost all faith when Kentucky, the big upset to Oakland.
Oh, my God. We were talking about this earlier. Kentucky. I had them in every single Final Four bracket I had. It's been tough.
I know. It's been tough. Day 1 was okay for me, but today, day 2, not looking
it's
too
not
hot.
off to a hot start.
So
it's not off to a hot start. If you guys want to see our brackets and more of our guesses, make sure to tune into our sports podcast, HNN Overtime. You can watch it on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. For Kyle and I, Kyle, another good Friday.
Another good Friday. Bring it in. Boom.
Boom.
How do you break the ice to make hot connections? People in Southern California are stripping down and plunging into ice baths, hoping to form lasting relationships. Danya Backus takes us there.
These couples are going way outside of their comfort zone. Testing the waters for a lasting connection with a 3-minute first date inside a tub filled with icy water.
38 degrees. Oh my. It's going to get hot in there, though, I promise you.
This Ice Pass LA mixer drew more than 100 people ready to make a love connection.
I'm okay with the idea of being in a relationship, so I was like, I'm sort of putting myself out there in any way I can.
Icebreaker question. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life, Melanie?
Pre-written questions stimulate the flow of communication.
I'm just seeking authentic connection.
While medical studies indicate ice baths reduce inflammation, stress, and improve mental concentration, organizers say this sober way to meet people beats searching the dating apps or chilling at a bar.
Typically people, they're dressed up, they're putting on a facade on a first date of wanting to impress.
Here, that's all stripped away.
I really enjoyed it. I was nervous, but
I wasn't nervous about the date. We had a good connection, but I was totally nervous about being there. It was really cold.
You're doing something difficult together, so you're setting a foundation for whether it's a friendship or a relationship. You started at a point where you were vulnerable.
Having extreme emotions when you're trying to meet someone helps you connect.
Yeah.
Whether the cold plunge leads to hot romance, these pairs have started the process with a warm friendship.
The hardest part is over.
We did it.
Yes.
Would recommend. 10 out of 10.
Danya Backus, CBS News, Venice, California.
Well, this past weekend, more than 20,000 people laced up and took part in the Los Angeles Marathon. And this next story is an inspiring one. It's that of an 8th grade boy who wanted to cross that finish line no matter what happened. Alex Rosier witnessed the moments and has the details.
On Sunday morning, I felt rather lazy, but inspired as I watched thousands of people run the LA Marathon. I recorded a few memorable moments that day, but I must tell you the story of 8th grader Leobardo Dorado.
He didn't know if he finished.
LAPD Sergeant Jay Balhemino worked near the finish line Sunday, and he watched Leobardo make it 26 miles into the 26.2-mile race. Then he collapsed.
We requested an ambulance, and there was a medic that responded right away. Then we looked at the bib number in the back, and there's a contact info, so we called the mom who was waiting for him in the finish line. And the first thing he asked is, did I finish? But the mom looked at me as like, he really didn't finish, but he wanted to finish. I could help him. He said, I want to finish.
Then I watched as Leobardo put one arm over his sister, another over the officer, and together they moved closer to the finish until he was feet away. Then his legs completely gave out, and the officer and sister carried him to the end.
I'm really proud of that boy, and if I could talk to that boy, I'd say, you're outstanding. You inspired me. Maybe I'll run the marathon next year because of you.
The boy's mom sent us a statement that said in part, quote, "We are very proud of Leobardo Dorado. It's his second marathon, and we are very appreciative of the people that helped him." LA Marathon officials are inspired too.
It's a great story, the reminder, and it's true for anyone too. Like, if you really want it, you can do this. Anyone can finish a marathon. You just have to have that heart and the willingness to get there.
The sergeant said he was just happy to help, but he said this is a story about a young boy who wasn't going to quit.
All the kudos goes to the kid. He'll run the marathon on his own. All right, I just help him, push him in the end to get him to the finish line.
Absolutely incredible. Ash, you're a runner. Can you relate to that motivation to just get to the end?
I will say the last 0.2 miles, especially at Kapiolani Park for the Honolulu, is the worst. It's the longest. It feels like you're never getting closer.
And you can see it. It's like right there, but you just got to keep pushing.
Yeah, it's like a oasis in the desert. Like it's just there and you see it, but it doesn't feel like it's getting closer.
Oh boy.
Great story. Well, finally, researchers have discovered a prehistoric amphibian believed to be have lived over 270 million years ago, and they've named it after an iconic frog celebrity. So this is the Kermitops gratus. Paleontologists at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History named it after the Muppet, Kermit, for its big oval eye sockets and cartoonish grin.
I don't know if I see the resemblance, but why not?
Sure.
Let's end today with a live look outside beautiful Honolulu. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Aloha.